Kind of like the Brady Bunch in a lot of ways.
A little bit like the Brady Bunch.
Today is the last day of the 2022, and Hulk Hogan is still a dumb son of a bitch.
Jabroni.
You are
This
a
is
jabroni.
good accent.
You are a jabroni. This is the bullshit. Welcome, everyone, to the last 2022 edition of Better Than Broadway, episode 14, the best of 2022, part 3.
Didn't the Iron Sheik say, like, Merry Christmas to everybody except for that piece of shit Hulk Hogan or something like that?
Correct. That's correct.
Didn't he do that, like, when he posted that?
Absolutely
That's great,
correct. The Iron Sheik is the
Super.
best. If you do not follow the Iron Sheik's Twitter, you need to do that. It is the _Iron Sheik. He has 700,000 followers because he's amazing. And reflecting
Every
on
opportunity to take a dig, he will take it.
Yeah, reflecting on 2022, everyone reading this is a dumb son of a bitch.
Well, I mean, he's not wrong.
Oh, my God. And he hates Hulk Hogan because Hulk Hogan ruined his career because the Iron Sheik was the impetus for Hulkamania. But anyway, we've got a great show for you guys today. We've got a few surprises thrown in. It's going to be a lot of fun. But Chef Ryan, please introduce our dear friend and guest today, and ask
Our esteemed guest,
questions.
Mr. Bodybuilder, powerlifter, CrossFitter, actor, and voice actor, Mr. Leo Ace. We'll give him a round of applause.
Leo Ace. Ryan, wait, all your friends have these cool nicknames, man. When are you going to give them to us?
You got to earn nicknames, man.
Yeah, I got you. Oh, man. Coach Rob.
Yeah, look, you can be the beard.
Very creative. The beard.
The beard. So welcome to the end of 2022, literally the last day. And we have Leo Ace here. And so, Leo, thank you for joining us, man.
I appreciate you guys having me. Thank you.
Yeah. So whenever anybody comes on the podcast, we ask them a couple questions. First question: who is your favorite wrestler of all time?
Of all time, I am torn, right? Because as a kid, it was The Rock, or as an older kid, it was The Rock. As a younger kid, it was The Ultimate Warrior. So
There you go.
when I was
My man.
when I was a real small kid, it was The Ultimate Warrior. Him sprinting to the ring. I didn't know better. I didn't know what was motivating that energy. I didn't know where that energy was coming from. But the tassels, the tassels, and the wind sprint to the ring, the quick execution of the feats of him winning. Yeah, I love The Ultimate Warrior. But then I got a little older, and I guess right after the Nation of Domination kind of went up against DX, The Rock was it.
The Rock just had
his talking ability.
Just the talking was golden, like liquid. I mean, like audio gold. Anytime he opened his mouth, it was just
you never
awesome.
knew what was gonna happen next. You didn't. He would call you a jabroni. You didn't know what a jabroni was. You knew to be offended. You just didn't know why you were offended.
It's like when you're overseas and somebody starts like yelling at you and you're like, I don't know what you're saying, but I want to fight you.
Yeah, like I don't like the tone you're using when you say that word, so now I'm offended. That's kind of what happened. He's calling people Rudy Poos. I don't know what that is either. You calling me a candy ass.
It's whatever he could say and get away with it on television because he couldn't cuss. He had to come up with something.
Right.
Wasn't he the worst face though? Like in the beginning, like the Rocky Maivia character.
Oh, that was
horrible.
Terrible. Yes, he was.
He was just so like, "Hi guys, I'm happy to be here." Haha, just
like Captain Planet, like a very cheesy superhero.
I'm proud of my father's legacy, and I'm gonna. Yeah, it was horrible. But I mean, that's not his fault. It was a gimmick that he was given. But some people take crack gimmicks and they make it good. He did not make that good. It took him a little bit to grow, but I think he's undeniably, the biggest figure to come out of wrestling. I think. There's no bigger figure to come out of wrestling.
See, I had this conversation.
It's an arguable.
I'm
not
sorry.
in the last 30 years.
I had this conversation recently with one of my friends, right? And I said the same thing. and their immediate rebuttal was John Cena is bigger. And
Nah.
I,
John Cena's a better wrestler, but John Cena's not bigger.
I agree with that.
I agree with that. But then in my mind, I go pound for pound. Was Hulk Hogan not bigger than both?
No.
Because you're thinking, I'm
Hey,
thinking
Suburban
pre-internet,
Commando was fantastic. Thank you.
right? But I'm thinking
Suburban
pre-internet.
Commando was amazing.
Like
yeah.
before the
no,
internet, the world knew him.
You're right. There was a short period of time where he was the biggest thing in the world. He was bigger than Michael Jordan during Michael Jordan. He was bigger than like everything. But it was a short period of time, and it was only because of wrestling. He was never big because of anything else. When I say the biggest thing to come out of wrestling, you can't deny that The Rock is not only the highest paid wrestling actor, he's the highest paid actor. Period.
That's true.
Yes,
He has more followers than most Hollywood actors. He has one of the most social media followers in the world, far more than John Cena, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and the next three down the line combined. So it's really, I mean, you look at how many people Hogan have now. Yes, he was more relevant back in the 80s, but I think when it comes to money that they've made and overall like reach, like just the ability right now, if you go to anywhere in the world and you ask somebody who The Rock is, you're going to have a better chance of them knowing who The Rock is than John Cena or Hulk Hogan. They might know all three of them, but.
And I think what makes that relevant is like, we talk about The Rock's golden chops. Like when you can talk and you can, be funny when you're not expecting to be funny, that's what makes you good. I mean, wrestling is a form of acting. Hyperbole, yeah, sure. But yeah, when
it's
you're
better
doing
than
all that extra stuff, yeah.
It's better than acting. It's better than Broadway.
Better than Broadway.
Wrestling to me is the male soap opera. It's a soap opera for guys. It's a continuous storyline that's been going on my entire life. I mean, there's different variations, but it's a soap opera for men, and that I fully sell into. I like that. That shit is fun.
Yeah, well, that's the whole reason why you watch television, right? Is to escape from reality. And the way I explain it to people whenever they ask me, they say it's fake, they say it's this or that or whatever. I just simply say, A, I say it's more real than anything else on TV. And I say, B, you have to understand that wrestling isn't wrestling. Wrestling is a show about a wrestling show. If you look at it like that.
Can I correct myself real quick? I said it's a male soap opera. And that's not really fair because my sister watches. So it's essentially just a soap opera. It's just a soap opera with physical violence. That's what sets it apart. The visible
Justin,
violence.
are you saying in movies when people are shooting at each other, those guys are not dodging real bullets?
Well, I mean, in some movies, but that would probably be like, the news and stuff like that. I guess. I don't know. Yeah, like if you just understand it like that. Yeah, exactly. I mean, when Chuck Norris does it, it's real.
Okay,
I've heard that before. I've heard that.
Yeah. Well, there was a one scene in Walker Texas Ranger where Chuck Norris fought a bear and used his karate to fight off that bear.
100% legitimate.
Got me into karate.
Yeah, it's 100% legitimate. My grandmother loved Walker Texas Ranger.
And Leo, second question.
Go ahead.
What is your favorite moment of wrestling?
My favorite wrestling moment.
At any time.
My very favorite wrestling moment was Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair. That was a great match to me. And the emotion in that match. At the end of the match,
I love you.
I'm sorry, I love you. Super kick, pin. Yeah, that I teared up at the end of that.
Yeah.
I teared up and watched it again later in that week and teared up again. That match was amazing because it wasn't like Ric Flair wasn't like any of my favorites, but he's a representation of my childhood. He's absolutely an avatar of wrestling from my childhood. So to see another legend that I loved, my cousin's favorite wrestler in history was Shawn Michaels. He loves the Heartbreak Kid. So to follow that career as well and to see one and the other, I mean, yes, it's a passing of a torch, but is it? They're both done. They're both done wrestling.
Yep.
So it was just a lot.
Well, I also just remember, in watching the end of that match and Ric Flair was getting up and it's like, you could see the pain in his face and he knew he was done. And it was like, here it comes. That's why, he had his hands up and he said, go! on. And that's when, I love you, I'm sorry. And it was Heartbreak Kid. That was heartbreaking.
Yep.
Yeah.
What
I'm getting emotional thinking about it.
Yeah. It was.
I got goosebumps.
I told you. What did I say? I said, you guys are never going to guess
right,
it.
dude.
And it's everyone, every wrestling fan will appreciate that moment. It's the build up for that. Because I don't think a lot of people, if you weren't watching wrestling actively during the time, you don't know that on Monday, that there was a stipulation like a month or two before.
Yeah, if he loses any match, he retires.
That part. Yeah, if you lose, you're done. And he just kept winning somehow. And week after win, he would pull off these hilarious wins, these improbable wins, and he gets to WrestleMania. He gets Shawn Michaels, Mr. WrestleMania.
Mr. WrestleMania.
So it was
just
the whole
entrance,
storyline was great.
That entrance alone, that last Ric Flair entrance, I think the entrance
they did him right.
16 minutes or something like that. It was. Yeah,
and he wore the red trunks, which is the trunks he wears whenever he loses a match, or maybe it was blue. I think it was the blue trunks. Would always wear the specific color of trunks when he was going to lose a match.
I thought that was Macho Man. I didn't know that.
Maybe too. Maybe him too.
I knew Macho Man wore specific colors
in my
when
beard.
He won, or specific colors when he loses.
That's right.
Oh, this is gray. Shit, never mind.
Superstitions are wild. Well, boys, it is time, cracks knuckles, for the best of 2022, part 3. Ryan and Justin and I have 3 great matches from this year. Leo, we would love your commentary on these matches. Maybe these are some matches that you haven't seen, and that's okay. We will still have open-ended questions that will give you your opportunity to speak and speak your mind on the business. My match, who wants to go first? I'll go first. Ryan,
let's do rock, paper, scissors.
I think Justin should go last because Justin's got, in our opinion, probably the match that everyone will want to talk the most about.
Okay.
I think I kind of stole it from you guys. I'm sorry this time.
That's totally fine. Because
I took the L last time, though. Let you guys do it. We let the
There's
thing go.
No losses here. There's no losses here. It's all love. So I'll go ahead and start. My match of the best of the third leg of the year is from Impact Wrestling, December 8th. This was champion Josh Alexander versus Speedball Mike Bailey for the Impact World Heavyweight Championship. A little quick background on the match itself. Back in 2016, Speedball Mike Bailey, professional wrestler from Canada, I do believe he's French-Canadian, tried to enter the country illegally to wrestle for Evolve. So that's back in 2016.
That's
Dedicated. So anyway, the American authorities caught him trying to get into the country, and they banned him from entering the United States for 5 years. Okay? Fast forward to 2021.
Take those boots and get out.
Yeah, he's working shows here finally back in the United States. And then we get to January 8th of this year at Impact Wrestling's Hard to Kill. It's their first pay-per-view of the year. It's the one that we're going to go to in January in a couple of weeks at the center stage. Mike Bailey wins his tryout match again in a 4-way match against Ace Austin and a couple of other guys, Chris Bay maybe. But what's significant is just a few months later, or actually that night, I should say, Mike Bailey signs his contract to Impact Wrestling. They're so impressed with him, and they're looking for a place to sign. And Josh Alexander's there, they're friends, and he says, "Dude, just here, sign it on my back. Like, this is amazing." So he leans over. Mike Bailey signs his contract across Josh Alexander's back. At this point, Josh is not the champion, but he will soon be champion after he defeats Moose. Then you fast forward, Mike Bailey becomes X Division champion in the Ultimate X match in June. Holds that title for a couple of months before he's defeated by Frankie Kazarian. Something significant. It's not necessarily a footnote, but it is kind of something that matters. Mike Bailey is the first openly non-binary wrestling champion in history. He is married to Veda Scott, who used to be a Ring of Honor announcer. They both are non-binary folks, but they use she, they, he, they pronouns. I don't know. It's pronouns I'm still learning. But that kind of leads us into where we're going with this match. Josh Alexander, Mike Bailey are friends. They've wrestled each other. They have a mutual respect for each other. Bully Ray is in a big storyline with which is the former Bubba Ray Dudley. Leo, I'm sure you know the name Bubba Ray Dudley. So Josh Alexander and Bully Ray are in a feud right now for the title, which will culminate in Atlanta at Hard to Kill. Josh Alexander walks out on Impact Wrestling one night and says he's declaring an open challenge. He says, Bully Ray, get your ass out here, accept my challenge, do this, do this. Bully Ray comes up and says, nah, I got my match. Screw you. You're not worth my time, blah, blah, blah. Josh Alexander's fired up. He's pissed. He wants to wrestle. So he says, all right, anybody wants it, come get it. Speedball, Mike Bailey, little guy, comes out. Just for an idea, Josh Alexander's about 6'1", 6'2", 225. He's about Justin size, big dude. And Speedball Mike Bailey's more like
245.
Okay, you are 245. So Mike Bailey's about 5'10", about 175. So I mean, big. It'd be like me wrestling Justin, So Mike Bailey's got a really big.
Sounds like a good time, man.
It's got what?
I said it sounds like a good time to me.
Yeah. Mike Bailey has his.
By the way, hey, have you guys noticed this is the way that you eat? You don't eat a banana in front of men, like you eat it like this.
Like a corn cob?
Are you eating it like the little corns? Are you eating it like the?
Yeah, eating it like a wing.
Yeah, do that, or you cut it with a knife. You cut it with a knife. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Anyway, Mike Bailey comes out. He accepts the challenge. He's a karate master. Josh Alexander's more of a submission technician, striker. These guys are they're working a good match. Josh is dominating this dude, and then finally Mike Bailey starts kicking and punching and doing his thing. They a lot of back and forth. One of my high spots of the match was Bailey's got him in a triangle choke. He's got Josh in a triangle choke. Josh picks him up, big dude, and he shoves him up underneath the turnbuckle and does a slingshot and just. Dude, I mean, his face is wide open into the turnbuckle, and it's metal underneath a little thin piece of foam. I mean, you hit it wrong.
When your face impacts metal, that is a bad thing.
It's a bad thing. I mean, it was like when Cash Wheeler. It was like when Cash Wheeler ripped his arm open on the turnbuckle in the AEW match. So I mean,
his face could have ripped right off.
Yeah. The ring is meant to be safe so you don't die when you fall on your head. But at the same time, there's still a lot of dangerous things in the ring. And I know the apron's the hardest part of the ring, Justin. So.
Did you guys know? Damn it. You didn't give me my spot, Rob. That's my spot.
A lot of back and forth in the match. These guys are spent after about 20 minutes, but they keep going. This is a 60-minute match. These guys work 59 minutes and 48 seconds. Josh Alexander eventually gets the win after two C4 pile drivers in the middle of the ring. But the storytelling and the fact that Mike Bailey's is a hard ass and Josh Alexander's a hard ass, and they just lit each other up this whole freaking match with strikes and submission attempts and near falls and everything. It's just what you love about wrestling. These guys are just, putting on a show. They're entertaining. They're telling a good story. Hard work, and that's the 2-minute version of an Iron Man 60-minute match. Boys' thoughts.
I don't have much to say about it other than the match speaks for itself. Other than I'm glad that you picked this match because Impact hasn't been, or I should just say, none of the other smaller companies have really been represented in this. And I think that the match was, you picked it because it deserved to be here and not because we were just trying to, give everybody a piece of the pie or whatever. So I like that in 2022 that there are so many options for us to have, potentially match of the year. I just think it says it speaks a lot for the landscape of wrestling.
Right. Because I had 4 matches that I wanted to pick from. I had 4. So I had the match that you chose, Justin. I had this one with Josh and Mike. I had Mayu Iwatani and Kairi from the Stardom New Japan show where Kairi won the title, and I had the FTR and the Briscoes in the Bull Rope match for the titles last month, the Final Battle. So, I mean, it was hard for me to choose, but, you know, I love Ring of Honor. I love Japan. We all know this. I mean, I'm wearing the damn shirt, for Christ's sake. So,
you wear that shirt every day.
Yeah,
or do you just have like 100 of them?
I just got the one. I got to get another one because this one's faded. But
Rob owns one shirt.
He owns two shirts. It's that one or the Atlanta Performance shirt.
Yeah, Atlanta Performance. Yeah.
Shirts. The only shirts I own. That's all I got. I got that. So, but no, I felt like, you know, and Justin, you hit the nail on the head. I felt like we hadn't spotlighted Impact Wrestling. We spotlighted AEW, WWE, Ring of Honor, a little bit of Japan, but we don't really talk a lot about Impact. And Impact is a fantastic company. They respond out of the WCW buyout from WWE. And in 2002, Jeff and Jerry Jarrett started this company in Memphis. Memphis was a hotbed for wrestling in the 70s and 80s with Jerry Lawler, Andy Kaufman, all that. But it's just like this company's been around for 20 years, and they still don't get their flowers like they deserve, in my opinion.
Good old slap nuts. Yeah, you know, Impact is one of those wrestling companies that I think they should get their, like you said, their flowers because, I mean, they've got staying power. You know, they've been there. They've been around longer than, at this point, I think any other competitor against WWE, even, you know, but they've just found their niche. But, you know, they were never really that big. I guess arguably they were the biggest when it was like Hogan and Flair running the company during all that time when they, you know, they were kind of almost, you know, the alternative like an AEW.
Then they were TNA Impact, right? Yeah,
that was when it was TNA. But it had a lot of different, you know, Billy Corgan was in it for a little bit and all that other kind of stuff, which that's just another one we didn't talk about is, you know, NWA Power. NWA Power. But yeah, I think Impact's a good, it's just, unfortunately, it's one that I haven't had as much experience with because when it was at its biggest was when I wasn't watching, you know, from like 2000 to like 2015. So I get things from, you know, friends and maybe like YouTube videos and stuff. And I see, you know, like Jay Lethal and I see not the Octagon, the Hexagon, whatever it is. And then I recognize and realize, wow, a lot of the people that I really like today, like, you know, like Samoa Joe, you know, they got, you know, they cut their teeth there, you know, AJ Styles, like, you know, that's where a lot of these guys got their recognition where they're at now. And I mean, I wish that I had the time to go back and kind of watch it. Like, you know, I used to watch the old Nitros, you know, just there was a period of time where I would literally just on the WWE network, I would just, you know, every night I would watch the Monday Night Wars, like boom, 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 boom. But, yeah, I mean, do you guys think, I've got a question for all y'all. Do you guys think that Impact has been the most, no pun intended, impacted by the pandemic?
Leo?
TNA, I remember Impact as a TNA company. And
sure.
Jeff Jarrett, during that, like I was interested, but Jeff Jarrett turned me off sometime during 2007.
I really can't stand Jeff Jarrett, to be honest.
He's really easy to not like, and not even in a heel sense, just like why is he like? Did you guys catch the acclaimed diss track of him?
No, I haven't.
You got to watch that. Holy crap. The whole internet talking about it.
Oh.
He talked about Kurt Angle's wife and stealing him. He talked about, you know, he's like, you haven't been relevant since 2004, dude. It was like Eminem wrote it for him.
I will post that in the show notes for anybody who's watching.
I appreciate
that.
It's the best rap diss. It might be the best rap diss track of all time. I know that's a very specific genre, but it was definitely the best that Max Cast. Yeah, it was definitely the best that Max Caster has put together since he started doing these things for promos.
No, TNA Impact and I believe AEW last year lost me. So those two companies I don't have much insight on. A specific.
What about AEW lost you?
Last year, okay, so I've been looking to start watching wrestling again. It's old hobby of mine. Me and my dad and I used to bond with wrestling. Like I grew up on wrestling with my father. My father, he's a Haitian immigrant, so it's not like he watched American football or he was a huge basketball fan. So he didn't have a local team for me to root for, just to follow and root for. and so the sport that we bonded over was wrestling. And so um, I wanted to get back into it. I want to kind of keep that hobby. We watch the Royal Rumble and Survivor Series annually. We still keep that going, but I want to know the storylines more. And so I was like, I'm curious about AEW. So I decided to watch a particular pay-per-view. A friend of mine who's a huge wrestling fan tells me, watch this. This is supposed to be a great pay-per-view. So I check it out, and there's supposed to be somebody's supposed to die at the end of this. Like there's supposed to be some unbelievable explosion at the end of this pay-per-view.
Oh, you're talking about the death match.
Oh, the Moxley.
Yeah.
Kingston and Moxley. And that's what you started on?
That was the very first and last match I watched. So I watched it.
You literally picked the worst botch. That was like Botchamania.
That was the only match I've ever seen from AEW. So I watched it and I'm like, this is your main event. And he dives on him and then these fireworks go off. I'm like, what the what is
that's like the first Star Wars you ever watched was The Phantom Menace. That you set up to be horrible. Of course you're not gonna like it.
Yes.
You gotta give it another chance.
I was like, I'm never, and that was it. I was like, I'm never giving this product another. This is a pay-per-view. This is a pay-per-view. You're paying for this view. I didn't want to, no, this is absurd.
The match was good though, to be fair. It was really
correct. That's fair.
The ending.
That was Omega versus Moxley. And then Kingston came out to help him out. And then it was all,
right.
Don't die.
Everyone was like, this is going to be incredible. There was no incredible. I didn't see incredible. I was let down. I was hurt. I was devastated. I said, no, we're going back to WWE. This is a tried and true product. And you know what? I'm staying here. Now that Triple H has the reins, I feel safe.
Hell yeah.
What
100%.
they were trying to do with that, if I can go in their defense for a little bit, is they were trying to ride off, the Dark Side of the Ring series, as they had done several times. They did that with Flying Brian Pillman Jr. With his fathers, and then they gave him a push after that aired. And then so they did in season 3 the death match. What was it, Rob? You'll know this better. It's a Japanese death match. Exploding barbed wire. What was the company that they did it over there with? I can't remember the name of the company, but they did an entire episode about this, just because it was so brutal and so many people. It wasn't Extreme. I can't remember. Anyways, I'm sure
it wasn't DDT Pro.
Yeah, but they did. They did it all over. It was oh man, it's gonna bug me. I'll look it up in a second. But anyways, they did a match, a exploding barbed wire match. This was back in the, I guess, late 90s, early 2000s.
Big Japan Pro.
Yeah, that was it. Big Japan.
Big Japan Pro.
And they were kind of going around when New Japan was there and All Japan, it was in that, and they were kind of the ECW of that region. And they did it, and it actually was very, very epic, and it was scary, and the people in the ring, you thought that maybe they died. That's obviously what they were going for. I hope the guy that did the pyro got fired, because it was lackluster. Definitely the biggest botch in AEW history for sure.
I don't know, man.
In-ring botch, I think. I mean, I guess the fallout from the all-out brawl-out, I guess, would probably be the biggest thing of all time. But
when Jericho fell off the cage into through the hell we can
into the padding.
I don't think that was a botch. They were just trying to protect the 50-something-year-old guy. You know what I mean? I don't think. I mean, they meant to do that, but.
Maybe he just has great luck that that padding was just there, and Jericho's ring awareness is so good. He knew to where tilt his head in the air to move him as he was falling directly onto the padding. It's like if you guys ever watched yes, he's a wizard. He can has fairy fall or I'm sorry, feather.
He used alchemy. He used alchemy to turn the concrete into a form of pillow. Because he's a fucking wizard.
So metal.
Yeah, okay. But I mean, if you had let's see now. I knew I liked you, Leo. Full Metal Alchemist. I like it. I love it. Yeah. So, but I would implore you. And look, none of us are. Even though we all love AEW, none of us are going to sit here and say that AEW hits the mark 100% of the time. But when they're good, they're great. When they're good, they're the best mix of yesterday and today, like your favorite, alt rock tunes.
Okay.
Like, they really have blended today's production, and some of the stories that are in there are the best stories, the best put together and most detailed stories maybe of all time for wrestling. Like rivaling, we talked about like The Rock versus Stone Cold and leading up to, was it WrestleMania 17? Like the stuff between Jericho and MJF, the stuff between Moxley and Omega, the buildup of Hangman Adam Page, to Omega, like the 3-year storyline that was built up to that. It is long-term storytelling at its finest.
Really
So, and the thing is like, you're not always going to, look at Jericho. Jericho's, arguably the greatest at reinventing himself of all time, but he doesn't hit. Sometimes he calls himself a wizard. He's not always going to hit it out of the park. But
was it the $1 million view segment guy that he tried to push for like 10 minutes?
Yeah. So that's all I would say. I would say, get a couple matches from us and watch them on AEW, and you'll change it around. Because I was the same way with WWE. I wanted to love WWE when I got back into wrestling, and it just wasn't the same. So I stopped watching it. I kind of fell off. When AEW came around, I stopped altogether from 2000 to 2015. I started again in 2015, and that was like right as the Shield was going out and they were breaking up, and Cena was pretty big, and they had the Cena, the United States Open Challenge, and Jake the Snake Roberts had came back for that old school Raw. That was the first one that I watched because I was doing video work for him, and it just kind of went downhill for there, and it was very like that horrible Vince McMahon down trend of just no long-term storytelling, 50-50 booking, and just no drama. And it just seemed like some watered down Disney, Mickey Mouse version of what I used to love. And it was honestly more depressing than anything else. So when, so we started watching, other stuff, when Cody left and I started getting into Bullet Club and this and that. And then when they were approached with, when Tony Khan approached, the Elite and all that other kind of stuff, I was watching more Being the Elite on YouTube than I was actually watching wrestling. And when all that started, man, it just seemed important. And then when Jericho came, because the only thing good on WWE at that time, in my opinion, was the List of Jericho. Right?
That's
and
fair.
KO and that whole thing. And then I love Finn Balor. We were watching NXT more than we were watching WWE because NXT, the takeovers were killing.
That's what everyone was
the main
saying.
product.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that kept me watching was NXT. So anyways, AEW is a beautiful mix of NXT, but we need to move forward. But I was just
those big events, those big premium live events. Chef, what do we got for us?
So my best thing for the third of 2022, I'm actually going to go with Bianca Belair versus Bayley at Crown Jewel. And I talked about this when we reviewed it before, but like I love how much of a statement this match was, because the first match when they first went to Saudi Arabia, no women's matches, and then after that in 2019 it was Natalya versus Lacey Evans, but they're heavily covered, and it's like, but what I think is beautiful about these matches in general is that without a political agenda, but this wrestling is able to push slightly, baby step notches of a, more women's rights, agenda into a very conservative nation. And that's a beautiful thing because it's not coming down to politics or deals. It's just, entertainment, and entertainment has such a big voice that we don't always think about. It's like they say a picture is worth 1,000 words, but this match, it may have pushed 1 billion minds. And that's what I loved about it. And every time the women perform there, you're giving hope to a nation of people who aren't exposed to that stuff.
Yeah.
But enough about that. Let's talk about the match.
Yeah.
And it's a last woman standing match. And they come out in their full bodysuits. And it's pretty standard to get going. But as any no disqualification match, they go for the chairs. And I get there's chairs under the ring because there could be extra people in the audience. Okay, here's a quick chair, you sit here. But I'm just waiting for Bianca to get caught with the syndrome theory and the Incredibles with the capes. No, we don't do capes. Is that people die from that? Your cape gets caught in a jet engine and you get sucked out. Bianca's hair is it's gonna happen to her some days. She's gonna have to cut it. But it's like if Bayley wanted to win that match, and this is my whole theory of the whole match, is that Bayley is an amateur wrestler or an amateur thinker. I'll put it like that. And if she wanted to be smart, she would have taken Bianca Belair's hair, found a bottom of a ring post, and tied it in a knot, and said, "Okay, you can't get up, you can't continue. I win." And this amateur thinking progressed through the entire match. They go from the chairs, and then Bayley gets to the steel stairs, knocks her with it, puts her against the ring, and covers her with the ring stairs. You can't get out. But as those stairs they go into they go up against the post, there's a gap there. You could have plugged that gap with somebody's shirt or the chair or something. But Bianca sneaks out to the top. Amateur move. Got to be thinking better about that. And then there's kendo sticks. Who's bringing kendo sticks overseas? I get ladders and chairs and ring post and the steps. Those things you build the match with that. But it's hey man, don't forget. Hey, bring the ropes, bring the gear. But Steve, don't forget the kendo sticks.
Don't they use the kendo sticks in the school when the children gets a wrong answer?
That's just a paddle. That's just a wooden paddle with a hole in it. So you hear that.
Oh, sorry,
right
that's
before
Japan.
It hits your butt.
That's Japan. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hey, Steve, don't forget the kendo sticks. We gotta put those. We never know when you're going to need those. So they go. The kendo sticks come out. The body hits, but then things start to escalate, and they go up under the ramp, and all of a sudden Bayley comes out with a Pelican case. Come on, who's the PA that leaves the Pelican case right by the entrance? But I mean, come on, someone should get are you just over there picking your nose? That's where people are walking.
I can see Vince or Triple H back there acting like the dude from Top Gun. He's like, "Why is a Pelican base in there? I want some butts."
Right. But then Bayley finds it. Okay, it's fair game. She goes, hits Bianca, dumps her in, and closes it. And again, the second moronic amateur thing. If you want to win that match, close the case and lock it. Lock it. And she didn't. And Bianca pops right up.
Does she even deserve to be a wrestler?
She needs to go back down to NXT.
I think that she should just contact you and slide in your DMs.
Yeah.
And you could probably, help her out with that.
You're
not going to charge her much, right? She can afford it.
I mean, I train celebrities now, so it's I don't know. But no. So
you guys might not remember this, and I hate to interrupt, but you guys watched Halftime Heat in 1999 or something like that, or 2000. It was The Rock.
Yes. It was during the Super Bowl.
He kind of goes in and he gets the forklift and he just lowers the forklift down into the, and
he pins him.
On, and he sits on top and he pins him and he wins the match.
I'll never forget that.
Yep. It's just like that, or you do like Roman against Brock, and you just put the whole damn stadium and chairs on them. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Leo, it sounds like that left a mark on you, dude.
I'll never forget that halftime heat. I want to say that was maybe 99, 98, 99. I don't know why.
It had to be late 90s.
It's standing out in my mind. It couldn't possibly be 2000. But I was a kid. Halftime heat comes on. You figure you're watching it. They're wrestling in an empty stadium. That's the part he didn't add
99.
in. They're wrestling in an arena. Arena's empty. They're fighting across the whole arena. And I'm thinking, Rock's absolutely going to win. He brings a fucking, a forklift, a real forklift, and pins him with the forklift. And well, that's bullshit. But I guess it counts. But I'm like, that's bullshit.
You know what?
And then you're asked to go right back to the Super Bowl. Go.
You know, I didn't think about that, but you know, that was the first stadium stampede.
Mm.
I didn't know. Oh, yeah.
Jericho stole it from The Rock. So that's one you need to watch, though, Leo, if you haven't, is Stadium Stampede during the pandemic. They made chicken
fantastic
salad out of chicken shit. It was absolutely fantastic. Both of them. But
anything else to add about your last woman standing match, sir?
Yeah, a couple things. And then, after Bianca Belair gets out, she finds a golf cart. Fire the goddamn PA, who just leaves the Pelican case, a running golf cart.
With the keys. The keys.
This is and with the keys in it. This is a professional sporting event. Let's be real here.
It's okay when Kenny Omega. It's okay when Kenny Omega and Sammy Guevara and Matt Hardy do it, but not.
Well, yeah, because they're on the field. They're in a state.
Makes sense.
Come on, they're putting down the grass. Bailey gets on top, rides it down, and then Bianca power bombs her through a table. Great spot. And then the match ends with Bianca not. And this is the big thing. Bianca doesn't just overpower Bailey, doesn't beat her by brute strength, but puts her inside of a ladder and then locks the ladder in the turnbuckles on the ring post, beats her with her mind because she's the smarter wrestler, doesn't have to knock her out, just contains her. Bailey struggling to get out, can't do it. Smarts beats Bailey. End of story. Mic drop.
She let her greed cloud her mind.
Is Bailey the man? Who's the man?
That's Becky Lynch.
Becky. Okay.
Bailey is the hugger. She's a hugger.
Bailey's the hugger. Okay.
Or she was. She's not anymore. Now she's a slugger.
Okay.
Well, all right.
Here it comes.
On to the. Let me start here. Generals gathered in their masses. That was horrible, Ozzy Osbourne. I promise I can sing. Just like witches. All right, so.
God damn it, Justin.
Just don't get our YouTube flag for that one.
Yeah. I'm purposely not sounding like Ozzy Osbourne because I sound so much like him that I don't want us to get copyright infringement and then get demonetized. So, because we make so much money off of our tens of fans.
This is good tactic.
Yes. So I picked Survivor Series War Games, the men's version, not because I'm sexist, but because it was honestly the match. And that's something that we've got two matches of these that were both from Survivor Series. I just thought about that. So both of those matches were there from them. This match, and if anybody wants to hear a really, really, big breakdown on it, we actually broke down this match in our Survivor Series recap. You can go back and re-listen to that. So hopefully we don't just sound like we're regurgitating stuff, but this match is worthy of, not just these, the last part of the year. But it's definitely up there for best match of the year in my, I guess, in my opinion. So it's the Bloodline, the Roman Reigns, Jimmy Uso, Jey Uso, Solo Sikoa, Sami Zayn versus Drew McIntyre, Kevin Owens, a newly recruited Kevin Owens, and the Brawling Brutes, which is Sheamus, Ridge Holland, and Butch, as we know him, Pete Dunne. I'm never going to see him as Butch. The build up to this was very, very good. It started, you've got the whole Sammy is Jay doesn't trust Sammy. Sammy's just this, goofy guy that, they weren't going to put him with them very long. And then the people just loved it so much. And he was so over that they just kept going with it. And they kept going with it. And I think everybody wanted to see Kevin Owens comes in. It's just one of those matches where you got everything that you wanted. And in WWE, I don't feel like you've gotten as a fan what you've wanted in a long time. This is one of those few matches where if you were dream booking it, it's like, I think we called most of everything that was going to happen. And it's not because it was predictable per se, but it was because this is what we wanted to happen. And it happened. It happened the way that we wanted it to happen. Some of the more notable, wrote down some of the more notable things, that happened during this match. Honestly, all of them coming out was great, but Roman Reigns sitting in his chair instead of standing while everybody is waiting, like the final boss. And you just
You're
knew
sending
he
him
was
out.
gonna be the last one. Sending him out like, oh, you went through him, you went through them, you went through them. So what's really notable to me, and we talked about this, is Kevin Owens wore a Dusty shirt on the way into the ring. Which War Games is, Dusty Rhodes created it. If you guys aren't aware of this is something that came from WCW, and that was why it was such a big deal, because WWE has a very, very long history of completely ignoring anything that isn't WWE. Nothing happens outside of their universe. So to bring this in and put it as the tagline underneath one of the big four, that was monumental in and of itself. And I feel like, it's definitely not something that would have happened while Vince McMahon was under, the administration. So I think a lot of people were happy about that. Yeah, exactly. Fuck the fans. They don't know what they want. We know what's best for business. So Pete Dunne, aka Butch, and Jey Uso start the match. They go back and forth. Jay gets a little bit of the the bigger, piece or whatever. But then after that, I believe it was they were going to have Jimmy come up, and they said, no, we're going to do Sammy. And that was Roman pulled him back and said, no, you go. And I think that was just part of the storytelling. The storytelling in this match was so great. It wasn't a spot fest like the girls' War Games, but there were a couple pieces in it. I don't know if you guys want to talk about. Maybe we should talk about our favorite spots in the match. I know Ryan talked about last time. The brogue beats or whatever when all the good guys were finally in the ring, beating them on the chest. That's definitely a big one. What did you guys notice? What was your favorite spot about this match?
Leo, did you see that one?
That was so. When you asked me the memorable moment, I thought of the year. That was going to be my pick. That specific match was going to be my pick. I believe in that match there was. Now forgive me because I'm now restarting to watch this year, so I'm not sure if it was Jay or his brother. But when Sammy was in the ring and he could have attacked him, but instead he saved whichever Uso doesn't like him.
It was Jay.
I enjoyed that
Jay
a lot.
Got the beef.
Because again, it was more storytelling. It's like, yo, this guy, he's holding you down. You hate him.
He pulled him away.
You know you hate him. He knows you hate him, and he's still committed to your well-being. I'm like, you can't be mad at that. It just furthered the plot. I enjoyed that part. That was
camera work. The camera work on that was great because they literally cut to him and you heard Sammy say, I told you, I got you. That felt like out of a movie. I mean, it was so well framed to be a live event, right? And the angle and just, the acting, everything, it seemed like something that you're in the middle of a movie and it cuts in close and they're having that eye to eye and they're like, I told you, I got you. There were so many little pieces like that in this match that made it seem more cinematic as opposed to, like a live production.
Very Godfather-esque.
Damn right.
Yes, absolutely. It really was. And then Jay accidentally hit Sammy with the super kick later on. And there are just so many spots that you could do with this. There's a couple spots. I'll tell you.
If you guys don't know, the super kick can literally kill somebody.
If you hit it right,
it's
in real life.
If you tune that up like Shawn Michaels did, heads will just pop off.
Tune it up.
It will, Justin. If I tuned up the super kick, I could knock your beard off your face.
So I have a question. When you tune up the super kick, do you tune it in A440, or are you using a different frequency that's going to help vibrate, your good aura better? That's something that's closer to the vibration of the earth and our.
It's a black belt thing, dude. I can't really explain it.
I got you. I
think Ryan's a 540 hertz kind of guy.
A 540, yeah, he's a little bit off. Yeah,
it's like it's like beating the drum. Every time you stomp, you're just channeling your power.
Yeah, I get it. So, speaking of power, speaking of power, another of the one that comes to mind is McIntyre. Just throughout the whole process, he was just throwing Zayn around like a rag doll. This match managed to make everybody look strong.
Absolutely.
And it just, no one came out of this match, in a bad way. Everything happened that needed to happen, and no one came out of the match weaker. We want to talk about the ending, but Rob, you were going to say, you're going to ask Leo a question.
I was actually going to talk about the ending. Actually, that's great that you led me into that. Thank you. That was a natural progression. So Leo, as the match comes towards its conclusion, its climax here, and Kevin Owens is laying dead in the ring.
Right.
Sammy's got the chance to pin. He looks over at Jay. Jay does the Samoan splash and gets the pin. That transitional moment in the match where, Sammy's just constantly trying to prove himself, who he is and why he does the things he does. Give me your feelings on why Sammy is such a good addition to this bloodline faction.
Because you're not sure if he means it. Like, as a fan, you want him to mean it, but as a fan, you also know the other shoe's going to drop. Eventually, he's going to have to betray it. The betrayal. They're not family, but is he? Like, he wants to be family. He wants to be down really bad, but you're gonna switch up eventually. Kevin Owens being in the match and being his best friend, I just knew, like, there's a good chance he might. So when he's getting pinned and he's like, he's just trying not to be involved. I'm like, this is some really fucking, this guy's good. Yeah. I don't know what's up his sleeve next, but this is.
Second question for
Go
you,
ahead.
Leading into what you don't know what's up his sleeve next, because I love that you said that. Would you rather see Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens team up for the tag titles to defeat the Usos at WrestleMania, or would you like to see Sami Zayn dethrone Roman Reigns for the title?
Oh boy. It honestly is contingent on the transgression that the bloodline commits to Sammy, because that's what it's going to take. They're going to cross Sammy in a manner where you want Sammy to get his get back. They're going to fuck Sammy over in a way where you're like, nah, Sammy need to go take that fucking belt from this clown. Or nah, you know what? Sammy need to go team up with Kevin and go beat their ass because they shouldn't have done that to Sammy. That's the only way I see Sammy successfully taking the championship from either the tag champs or Roman.
We haven't talked about this at length. Yeah, we haven't talked about this at length, but I mean, there's two routes that they can go here, right? I think, there's a bunch of different routes, but in my opinion, what's best for business is for Sammy and Kevin to take them off of Jay and this is only because Sammy's beef was always been with Jay. So for that to happen, I think it would almost make more sense for Jay to somehow have beef and disintegrate the bloodline, beat Roman as a heel, and then Sammy beat Jay. I think that's a little bit too convoluted. I think that even though it would be a great moment, like up there with Daniel Bryan, at WrestleMania, or Kofi Kingston winning the title, I think it would be one of those kind of feel-good underdog moments. I mean, Sami Zayn is the underdog for the underground, right? Wasn't that his initial gimmick when he came in? And I think that would be a beautiful thing. I just don't think it's best for business long-term. I think you have him and Kevin Owens become the tag team, and then eventually they go and they fight forever, right? Once, they have that run, and then they do a kind of swerve, Keith Lee kind of thing, to where Kevin Owens wanting to be the bad guy, Sami Zayn's the good guy or whatever. And then that leaves room for Cody Rhodes to come back and get his upcomings on Roman Reigns. I think Cody Rhodes makes the most sense to beat Roman throughout all this, just because when he comes back, he has the momentum of coming in from AEW. He's still hot as hell. He still has that story about his father. And with War Games, just being here, he can ride his father all the way into that championship. He is a certified badass now since his match with Seth Rollins with the torn pec. Nobody questions, is Cody Rhodes capable of being a world champion? anymore. So I think that he makes the most sense for that. But even though it would be a great moment, I would much rather see Jay betray, or the bloodline betray Sammy, Kevin Owens come defend his friend one last time, and they say, like Leo, like you're saying, say, I'm sick of this shit. You don't even know about me and Kevin. Like, it's on.
Right.
And then they take the title, which, guys, I don't know. Did anybody else watch Smack? I had to work last night, so I didn't get a chance to watch SmackDown. I was going to watch it after this.
I have
what happened in the match with Roman and Sammy versus Cena and Kevin?
Nothing special. Nothing
Really?
special.
Who
there was a moment in the show. There was a moment in the show that was just like, oh my god! And then there was another moment in the show. You're like, whoa! It was, and you'll see that when you watch it. But I mean, that match really wasn't anything special. It was just to get it was just to get eyes on the crowd. It furthered the storyline, sure, but it wasn't anything groundbreaking. It wasn't anything that was overwhelmingly special. It was just a match.
Can I tell you something though? It worked because I had a friend of mine, actually my son's godfather, who I didn't even realize watched wrestling. I don't know how you have somebody, I've known him for 20 years and I didn't realize he watched wrestling, but he's a quiet, casual WWE follower. And he sent me a text of John Cena last night. I'm like, okay, that's random. He's like, I'm racing home because I got to see Cena's back on SmackDown. And I'm like, huh? I didn't even know you watch wrestling. He's like, yeah, I watch it. Not as much as I want to, not as much as I used to, blah, 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 the old kind of thing. I was like, but when I found out Cena was coming on, I had to watch John. I'm like, yeah, because he hasn't, it's his only match of the year. He hasn't had a match all year. So just that brings that casual viewer back. Yeah. So, I mean, it works. It works.
But again, so Cena fought. I heard SmackDown was actually really good. I didn't know Cena was even.
It was.
The promo for SmackDown the week before that he did, like the satellite in promo. I don't know why I went like that. That was not meant to be. That was completely unintentional. The promo was. I mean, I posted in our group. I was like, somehow Cena has gotten even better at promos. Like, he's just so ironically dad humor funny, and he doesn't care that he's almost like a caricature of himself, and it works.
I think because he's been leaning into acting. I think he's been getting his acting
for sure.
off.
For sure. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we loved Ric Flair so much. He became a caricature of himself, and that's why we just loved him, because he was just letting loose. Is that it for the best of 2022, boys? Is that it? Because I've got a little surprise for us if we're ready for it.
Leo, do you have something to say? You look like something's on.
I feel like I have to add. I don't like him, but I have two really, really, really close friends that would scold me for not mentioning this match in this list. So I'm supposed to. I know I have to mention the Paul boy, that Paul brother. Was it
Logan Paul?
Logan Paul. Apparently he's.
It's okay. Ryan doesn't know his name either.
I don't like the Pauls. But the Pauls are very good businessmen.
They're great heels.
And
you don't like them.
Very good at their craft, respectively. Apparently, Logan Paul has been doing some incredible things in the WWE, and I'm being told that he should be a main.
Have you not seen his match?
I haven't seen a single match with Logan Paul yet.
They're actually pretty good.
I hate that they're good.
Damn it. Yeah.
You've got to watch Logan Paul versus Roman. Was it which one was the one where he did the viral splash?
Was that SummerSlam?
SummerSlam.
No, it wasn't SummerSlam, because that was Brock Lesnar.
Right.
No, well, it was Crown Jewel.
Crown Jewel. That's
he
right.
He fought Roman at Crown Jewel.
That's right.
Yeah, that was a phenomenal match.
Right, Crown Jewel.
It did not look like it was his third match ever. I mean, there's no way about it. I was the same way. Look, I don't like. He's very easy to not like.
They're both easy.
He's arrogant. To dislike. They got a lot of money. He's a natural heel. You want to pay to have somebody beat the shit out of him. But honestly, like, he's so good, not just on the mic, and knowing when celebrities come in, like, celebrities maybe they can talk but they can't wrestle, or maybe they're athletes but they can't talk. Logan can do it all, man. He's really hard. He's like the Tom Brady, he's hard to deny. Like, he's really easy not to like, but he's getting to the point where he's kind of everything he touches turns to gold. Everything he does, he's good at. And I don't like the guy either, but I'm sitting here saying it. You kind of have to.
Yeah, you got to give credit where credit's due.
No,
that's one thing.
No pun intended. You have to acknowledge him.
All right.
Nice.
All right, boys. I got a little surprise for y'all because we got about a minute left. This is this was our best of show. I've got 5 categories, answer only, because we were short for time. So anyway, let's start with Women's Wrestler of the Year. For me, Mandy Rose. Leo.
Bianca Belair.
Chef.
Oh. Jamie Hayter.
Jamie Hayter. Justin.
Oh my god. I don't. Wrestler of the Year.
Women's Wrestler of the Year.
I love that you said Mandy Rose. Man,
70 days as champion, a year and a half as champion. She reinvented her career. Good for her.
Yeah, I mean, Britt Baker.
Britt Baker.
Britt Baker.
Men's Wrestler of the Year, Leo.
Oh boy, Roman Reigns. I'm going Roman Reigns.
Roman Reigns. Chef.
It's got to be
Mox.
Mox. Justin.
It's got to be MJF.
MJF, love it. I'm going with the Tribal Chief as well. Breakout star or stars of the year. Everybody loves the Acclaimed. Leo.
I don't have one. I'm gonna have to go with Logan Paul.
Okay. I love it.
Go with Logan Paul.
I think that's great. I think that's great. Chef.
Only because it's fresh. Action Andretti.
I was gonna say Action Andretti. I was gonna say that. Damn it.
That's cool shit.
I mean, I gotta go with Rob with the Acclaim though. No one has gotten more over than them this year. No one has gotten. I mean, there are people that are more over than them, but no one has progressed and just they got a rocket on their back.
Right. As much as I love Roxanne
Disclaimer.
MJF, I feel like the Acclaim had the heat. Tag
Disclaimer for those listening.
What now?
No, I said disclaimer for anybody listening. The reason I chose Logan Paul is because I didn't see any other up-and-comers. So don't hold it against me.
Hey, I agree with you. In WWE, he's the fastest rising star.
Hell yeah. All right, tag team of the year, Justin.
Tag team of the year. Even though they haven't had a chance to do very much, since we already said the Acclaim, I'm going to have to say FTR.
Yep. Ryan. Chef.
I'm going to say the Usos, man.
Love the Usos. Leo.
Dominance.
Yeah, I'm going the Usos simply on the dominance alone.
Sounds good. Nobody had a better year than FTR, in my opinion, all the titles they won. And finally, as we close, what was your match of the year, Leo?
Oh, I thought we were going to do that on the no one.
Match
Oh, man,
of
that's
the
tough.
year. Oh, wow. I would probably go with the War Games. Bloodline versus I'm sorry, I don't remember the opponent.
Brawling Brutes and Drew and KO.
The Brawling
Got
Brutes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's probably
Love that.
either that. Honorable mention. I'll say the Women's Rumble was incredible.
I agree.
The Women's Rumble was incredible.
Chef.
I think Justin's going to agree with me on this. I'm going to say Punk versus MJF.
Justin, you agree?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I mean, if I had to pick another one and we had to be different, I would probably say Brock versus Reigns for the Last Man Standing at SummerSlam. But honestly, like that was my very first when we started doing this. That was my very first one. I think the build up, everything all together, the build up and the match were equally as. I mean, you have, Punk, who, love him or hate him. He is one of the greatest of all time. And you've got MJF, who's, I think it's hard to argue that he's not the best all around guy doing it right now. So
love it.
It was masterclass for sure.
All right, and my match of the year was Seth versus Cody at Hell in a Cell. I'd loved every bit of it. It's just all the storytelling.
Oh
everything.
God, yeah, I completely forgot about that. Yeah,
Speaking of
there's
that,
so many good matches.
so many good matches, guys. This has been a hell of a 2022. Thank you all for being around. I love doing
Leo,
this.
thank you for joining us, man.
I appreciate
Yeah,
you
man,
guys
thank you
having
so
me.
much.
Thank you.
And,
This was fun. This
happy,
was a privilege.
Happy New Year, everybody. Have a safe and healthy 2023, and be nice to everybody, you dumb SOBs. As the Iron Sheik would say, happy wrestling, everybody. Take care.
Yeah.
Be
Go
nice,
Green
be
Ranger.
good, or be good at it.
Go Green Ranger.
May the
Oh,
power
yeah.
protect you.
All right, guys. Until
Bye,
next
guys.
year.
Take it easy, guys.
See ya.
Peace.